They wasn't born into this shit. Me and your people was born into this, homie. They were born slaves. They was born Africans. They are not us. And we was born in these conditions. We ain't no African.
Chesley Major.
Always gonna be known as a Black American. I can't call myself an African American because when they want to separate us, then they say we are African American. But remember this: when I'm competing in the Olympics, I didn't compete on the African American Olympic team. I competed on the American Olympic team. So don't separate me when you want to separate me. That's the shit. Gonna be known as a Black American.
No, you did have your African American influence, and these would be people who are described as descendants of the transatlantic slave trade. That's me. I am African American. I have roots that started in Africa, but the country that I know, the continent that I know for centuries for my family, centuries, is America. It's America, right? So my experience growing up would be different from a classmate of mine or a colleague of mine that spent their whole life up until they were 20 years old in Africa. That's two different influences.
You have said this: you are not African, but we play along. It's a very loose term, African American, because half the time you use it for people who aren't even African. As long as you're Black, they say African American.
What you're leaving out in that whole joke is what I was talking about, was how in America, Anglo-Saxons had successfully removed Americanisms from minorities. So every single group in America had an identity attached to the Americanness except white Americans. So it's African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, Latin American.
And it sounds like you're saying there is a difference between African Americans and Black Americans.
There definitely is a difference.
Right.
But these are differences that can be celebrated or used to separate people. Noting differences does not implicitly make it a bad thing.
So down in South Florida, the Black immigrants be calling the Black Americans Yanks and Yayas. And they use these terminologies as a way to separate themselves from us. And I only think it's fair that we come up with a term to make sure we separate ourselves from them, especially when they get to talking like this. So a term that I came up with that I feel like fits some of these Black immigrants, especially the ones that talk like this, the best is cuckoo. Y'all ever heard of a cuckoo bird? Cuckoo birds are birds that lay their eggs in other birds' nests, especially when that original bird is not home. And that original bird take care of the cuckoo bird babies as if it's one of his own, alongside its original eggs, original birds. And the cuckoo birds are very hostile. They take up all the resources. They tend to kick the original birds out the nest. Talking about when cuckoo birds hatch, they're highly disrespectful to the original birds of that nest. And the whole thing about it is these are not independent birds. They depend heavily on other birds from other lineage and outside the family, which is crazy. And it reminds me of a particular group of people. So when I see Black immigrants talk crazy like this, I can't help but think of the cuckoo bird. Because you're here in someone else's home and somebody else's nest, and you're trying to undermine our achievements as if you built something here. A lot of y'all might have individual success, but you haven't built anything. We built the foundation as Black Americans, especially down in Florida. See what I'm saying? And on top of that, you like to be in my culture, you like to rap like me, talk like me, act like me, dress like me, and then talk crazy. You a cuckoo bird.
You no business born insecure junkyard mother.
Blacks are the only none of it. Blacks are the only none of it.
See, I'm not conveniently Black. I'm always Black. That's why we say be one. Because we Black first. You know what I'm saying? Foundational Black Americans. Foundational, yeah. We just the foundational. We foundation. We're the foundation. We started this shit. And we gonna finish this shit. Excuse my French. But yeah. Black Americans. You understand? This right here. It has been a big discussion online, all over X, all over YouTube, all over Facebook, all over Instagram. Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, are delineating. Now, people are saying it's divisive. Well, it's not divisive when you call yourself Jamaican, not divisive when you call yourself African. So I am FBA and always have been. If you look at the wording and how it's put together and what it really means, it's a lineage. My family goes back, way back. We were here already, and we got some slave blood in us. You understand what I'm saying? So the fact of the matter is, you have people coming from all these other countries, and then they're anchoring themselves in this country. So that does make them African American. But our families don't share the same experience, and we come from different bloodlines. I can trace my blood back to the killing fields and the cotton fields of the South. Reconstruction, segregation, Jim Crow, all that. So when things happen or achievements happen, now everybody's claiming that they're a part of that because they get to claim African Americans. Now, when bad things happen, everybody not claiming that. They're claiming I'm Jamaican, I'm Haitian, I'm this, I'm that, yeah. So FBA, we've just come up with the idea, and we said we're gonna put these cards on the table and lay them down and let everybody know that, yeah, we're delineating. We no longer want to be called African Americans. Majority of us haven't been to Africa. Now, I've been to Africa. I know what it looks like. I've been to the continent. But people can't trace their family back that far and don't have any connections. Country, the countries or the continent. So, therefore, nothing wrong with going over there to connect. Nothing wrong with, meeting people who are of African descent. No problem with that. But the thing is, we are just calling it how it is. A spade, a spade. We're Black Americans or foundational Black Americans. Now, if y'all want to be called African Americans, I get it. I get it. It is what it is. Elon Musk is an African American, technically. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it goes. Well, us who've been here in this country, who built this country, who started this country, who've bled for this country, who've died for this country, the United States of America, where we live, we ain't got nowhere to go. This is where we're from. The United States of America. We're Americans, Black Americans. And that's it. Everything else, hey, anything else is disrespectful. And calling FBA a cult, you sound stupid. It's not a cult. Now, the Republicans, what they got going on, the Democrats, what they got going on. But, growing up in Miami, Florida, I seen it all. Hispanics, Black-looking people, such as, the fake Jamaicans, we call them Jafakans, the fake Haitians, you know what I'm saying? I grew up around all of them, the Cubans, the Puerto Ricans, the Venezuelans, the Colombians, Bahamians, you name it. I grew up around them all. I've seen it all. Got to take in a little bit of their culture just by, either dating the women or maybe having a friend and going to his house and checking out how they live, the culture of the foods and the music, so I know about it. Miami's one of those places like New York. It's a melting pot. Everybody's here. You know what I'm saying? But foundational Black Americans built Dade County. You better believe it. Foundational Black Americans, I said, built Dade County. Now, everybody else who came in later, them Johnny-come-latelys, they just renovated it. We was already here, already had our feet in the mud, getting it out the mud. You dig? You understand what I'm saying? But anyways, that's all I got, guys. Let me know what you think about the video. Leave a comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. You could also support the channel by subscribing to the channel or clicking that like button. Also, hit that bell down below so you can get a notification every time I put out another video. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Peace.
Who that is?
Chesley Major. Chesley Major.
Chesley Major.
Chesley Major.
Chesley Major.